Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 38th episode of The Ruins of Warsaw. I'm Alexandra, and I'm the storyteller.
Hi, I'm Dolores, and I'm playing Janina of Clan Bruja.
Hi, my name is Faye, and I'm playing Beatrice Wozniak of Clan Malkavian.
And as always, we have partners helping us with tech and managing the chat for us, for which we are very grateful. Thank you so much for joining us on this unusual time for us. This is some extreme rescheduling due to COVID and summer starting. But we really appreciate you joining us for the last episode before we go on a summer break. It is also apparently the anniversary of the first edition of VTM coming out today. So happy birthday to our game.
Yay!
Pretty exciting to be playing on the day. And all right, I think we are ready to start now with a quick recap of the last episode when Hotel Bristol got attacked by the Sabbat. At the time, Bea and Janina were at the Elysium in the lounge, talking to the Bruja hound, Elka, about an omen Bea had on the way to the lounge, which indicated a coming danger and tragedy. Elka didn't seem surprised as such, but seemed hesitant about what to do and tried to tell Bea and Janina to run away. But they didn't, at least not immediately, and not before. Several members of the Sabbat, including some freshly embraced ones, walked into the lounge, and the fighting began. Both Bea and Janina got caught up in the fighting, trying to help eventual Cornelia, before running away from the lounge. Soon after they left, they ran into the sheriff, Lucian Topolsky, who told them to go upstairs to the attic to make sure his lover and Nosferatu ballet dancer Dominic and his child Diana were safe. Bea and Janina were accompanied by severely injured Nastya at this point, and Janina ran upstairs while Bea and Nastya were supposed to leave and meet her later at the Coteries Haven. But before they left the hotel, Bea saw an omen indicating that she could help Janina and Diana. And she turned back with Nastya behind her, striving to heal herself. Meanwhile, Janina got upstairs and noticed that Dominic was gone, and Diana was severely injured and tortured by Arek, a Sabbat gangrel who betrayed Bea's former coterie. They got into a fight, which wasn't going great for Janina, but she received help, unexpected one, first from Abelard, known to her before as the Man in Gold, who was sire of Mara, and a sire of Dominic, and came to look for his child, but was too late. Bea came not much later, and together with Abelard, they managed to put Arek in torpor. After which, the coterie and the rest of the kindred who survived assessed the damage to the Camarilla at Hotel Bristol, finding out that 3 of Camarilla kindred were dead: the Bruja hound Elka, a Toreador, Fabian, and Leonard, a Malkavian, whom the coterie brought to Hotel Bristol and saved. Together with Nastya and Janina's sire, Daniel, the coterie, left for their haven and went to sleep there. And that was really ended. And now the sun is setting again over a ruined city of Warsaw in the year 1947. And Janina, you wake up. You noticed first Nastya, still asleep. You're holding her, she's still sleeping near you. You know Daniel is at the other bed in the room.
I'm gonna embrace Nastya for a moment and just wait for her to wake up.
So you embrace Nastya. How are you feeling about her? How are you feeling? You feel a pain in your body left from the claws of Arek.
Well, at the moment, I'm just happy that everyone that I care about is here with me, safe, relatively, at least for a moment. Nastya and Daniel, Bea. I also think about Leonard, and I feel sad that he's gone. That it feels like all we did for him was like in vain. It didn't matter. That if I knew that he was about to die, maybe I wouldn't even like try to help Sarah and the others, and maybe they would still be alive.
So you're lying there with those thoughts, Nastya close to you. And there is somewhere at the back of your mind also a thought of Vita running through Nastya's body. It's not overwhelming hunger, but it is definitely present, made sharper by your wounds.
Yes, I just wait for someone to wake up, because I know I will have to go feed, because I don't want to endanger anyone, especially anyone here.
And some time passes, and you wait, and eventually you hear Daniel stare on the bed.
When I see him, then I will let go of Nastya and I go over to his bed and sit next to him.
He's just sitting up, holding his head, looks to you. Janina.
Daniel, how are you holding up?
Feeling like shit.
Yeah, I know. And I will put my hand on his shoulder. I'm really sorry about Elka. I guess you were close.
She was fine. I should have been there. Fuck, I should have been there. I shouldn't have taken this nice rest.
No, I'm glad you weren't there. I can imagine if something happened to you as well.
Well, I'm not glad.
Well, I know you're not. But
I'm sorry.
No, I understand. I guess I know how you feel. I lost Mara, and it hurt very much. It still does.
Yeah, it never really stops.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't get attached to anyone. But it's easier said than done.
Yeah, I don't think it quite works that way. I'm very attached to you now, and you seem insistent on getting yourself into trouble.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Just be careful, okay?
Same goes for you. I will have to go to feed because I'm hurt and I'm hungry and I look at Nastya and then back at Daniel. I don't want to hurt anyone else.
Yeah, we'll go feed. It's all right.
I'm gonna go check on Bea.
He just nods his head.
And I pat him on the head before I go.
He sort of moves away, but he doesn't comment.
And I go look at Bea to check if she has nightmares or not. Slowly open the door.
You wake up. You don't remember your dreams, but you feel a little bit rested. You are curled up in a corner, sitting on the floor. Your notebook is lying on the floor nearby, must have slipped out of your hand while you were asleep.
There's this sort of aching feeling of grief and frustration in my chest. I don't remember what it relates to. But there's kind of this ominous feeling as I reach for my notebook and go to see what fresh hell we dealt with yesterday.
So you start glancing at your notes, and you hear footsteps as Janina crosses the hall. And I assume, Janina, you enter the room?
Yes, I will slowly open the door, and if I see Bea up, I will smile at her. Good evening, darling. How are you?
I'll be all right. How are you?
I'm fine. I just need to feed because I'm hurt, but it's okay.
No.
Daniel and Nastya are here as well.
Okay. Not meaning to be rude, but you're looking a little rough.
Yeah.
I go over to her. What happened?
We were attacked at the hotel by the Sabbat. I'm sure you've written everything down, but
yes,
there are some losses. Elka, I don't know how much you were familiar with her. She was a bloodhound. She worked with Daniel and Fabian at Storyteller, and unfortunately, Leonard. And Anthony is not well. He's in torpor, but at least let's hope he will make it back. And Dominic was abducted. So, well, not great.
No.
But your Ventru friend, Cornelia, she's fine.
Well, I'm glad someone is. I also need to feed, but I think I need to go back to the hotel. I need to...
Yes, I'm sure you want to check on Felicia.
Several people.
Of course. I'm sure Daniel also wants to go back, and we should get back and ask if anyone needs something to do, because I really want to help find Dominic. It just hurts me to imagine if something like what happened with Oscar would happen to him.
I'd like to roll a self-control check to touch Janina.
Of course, difficulty 6.
Okay. I have 2 successes. So I lean over and pull her in for a hug.
as soon as she hugs me, I will hug her back and stroke her hair. I'm glad that you're okay.
I'm glad you're still here. I don't know what I'd do without you.
Same. Sisters forever.
Forever.
Now, I guess we should go feed.
Yes.
Let's check the others. Daniel was already up, but I'm not sure about Nastya.
So you go. Sorry.
There's a faint flicker of something when she mentions Nastya, but I don't quite remember what it is.
And you go. You leave the room. It's just across the corridor, and you hear faint voices of polite, small talk coming from the other side. There's a comment about Janina being very hurt, and Nastya saying she needs to make sure she will heal. And the door isn't all the way closed. Nastya and Daniel are talking in the other room.
Okay.
I'll go through to the living space and just sit down there whilst everyone, I don't know, I don't want to enter the room.
I just knock, and so everyone's up, and I glance mainly at Nastya because I know Daniel was up before.
Nastya gives you a faint smile. Yes, we were just talking about you.
I'm sure. Interesting talk. How are you holding up, Nastya? Are you fine?
Yes, I managed to mostly heal yesterday.
Yeah, I have to feed. How are you both? And I look at Daniel and Nastya.
If you're interested in how they're looking physically, they're both mostly fine.
I mean, if they, I'm asking if they need to feed as well.
Okay. Nastya, since she doesn't, she managed to feed off some of the corpses at Hotel Bristol yesterday. And Daniel also says, I'm all right. We fed when we were out yesterday.
Okay, then.
He looks extremely uncomfortable and guilty as he says that.
Yeah. So I guess it's just me and Bea who needs to feed. So I guess everyone here wants to go back to the hotel.
Absolutely, says Daniel, and Nastya just nods her head.
All right, so let's maybe just feed on the way there.
I think that will be good, says Nastya, and she stands up, puts on her shoes. Daniel slept in his clothes with his shoes on, so he just stands up and is ready to go. Is there anything else you want to do before you leave?
I'll mention to Janina that we could drop by my friends.
All right. If they're on the way, sure.
They are on the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it's settled, and I just look around everybody and set out of the door.
Okay, and you set out towards the Poniatowski Bridge, to the place where Bea has her friends that she can, from time to time, reliably feed on. They live in these wooden houses on the bank of the Vistula River, near the stairs up to the Poniatowski Bridge in the street. And you don't go to the bridge, but you cross towards the houses, and enter that living space. And after looking a while, I assume you want to, you would be able to sort of eventually run into some of them. I assume you want to find two of them or just one?
Two of them would be preferable.
You're trusting me with your friends.
Yeah, so I think first, you run into Kinga, who is sitting outside her house, and she is humming a lullaby to a baby in a crib nearby. They clearly just went out for a very short time in the evening. And as you approach, you see someone else emerge from a house, a man who starts taking the baby and the crib inside. And Kinga just stays outside for a little bit longer, and takes out the cigarettes and starts smoking. She's leaning against the wall of the house, standing outside.
As I approach, not being quiet or anything, just wave to her.
She notices you with a little bit of a delay, but then smiles. Bea, oh, there you are. I'm sorry.
Not to worry. More late nights?
Yes, well, it's like that with a child. Maybe you'll see one day.
Maybe.
I can't wait for him to grow. How are you? I haven't seen you much. You told me you're working somewhere else now.
Yes, it's been a bit busy and a bit hectic, but no, I'm doing all right, thank you. How's the work site going?
Tiring. Same old.
Of course. And I'll keep her engaged in polite conversation until there's an opportunity for Janina to feed.
All right. So, because it is your heart, I would say yes, you can keep her engaged.
Mm-hmm.
But Janina, you will be trying to creep up. So
I guess when Bea came up to the woman, I would be like next to her, like we were together, and when they were talking, I would just like pace around like her. So just like to not bother them, but to give them like some space. But if I would be seeing that the woman is engaged in conversation and doesn't pay much attention, and I would be in the right place behind her, I would gently try to creep up on her.
Okay.
I know that she's their friend. I don't.
Roll your dex, stealth, and add your celerity. Difficulty. I think 6 for dex.
Okay, so -1. Okay. I have a lot of successes. Wow. Why I can't roll this good like on something else? I have like 3 10s, 6 and 9. So
yes,
5
no
successes.
problem at all. You come up to her very gently, very naturally, and as she is leaning towards Bea to offer her a cigarette, you manage to gently hold her and sink your fangs into her neck.
I will take 2 before.
You will
if I
aim to take 2.
Yeah.
But you are feeling somewhat hungry. You are very hurt. So please, roll your self-control. Difficulty, because your bruja is 8. You may wish to spend willpower. You may not.
But I will do it because I don't want to hurt friends of Bea.
Thank you, darling.
But I wouldn't need it because I roll exceptionally well. Like I have 10, 9, 9.
No problem at all. You're very focused.
I'm sure that if I didn't spend the willpower, it would be like a shitty roll.
Probably.
That would be the
That's how it is.
Okay, so I will take 2.
You take 2. You control yourself perfectly. You're very focused. And without much issue, you let go of the delicious, delicious vicar.
And I feel better. Not too bad, too great, but better.
You do feel better, and Kinga is a little bit dazed. But she starts to come to
And I will start to resume my pacing and pretend like nothing happened and just give Bea the look.
I'm continuing the conversation as if nothing happened as well. Although I will sort of look at her a bit curiously. Is everything all right, my dear?
Must be exhausted. I'm sorry. I should probably go lie down.
Oh, of course.
Try to catch some sleep.
Absolutely. While you've got some peace and quiet. Well, you take care.
And she disappears inside the house. And as you are sort of looking around a little bit more, you see Ivona, another of Bea's friends, heading clearly back home, carrying a shovel with her, walking at rather fast pace, in a little bit of a hurry to get home, just determined to keep going despite tiredness.
I'll do a similar approach, sort of waving at her.
So similarly, she is happy to see you. She scolds you a little bit for not staying in touch and disappearing on them.
I will apologize profusely.
And you are able to find a moment to give her a hug as she says she needs to go and get back home and just lie down because she's really tired. She just wants to get there as fast as possible. And you can also bite into her neck.
I'm staying around, so in case something went
and I'm
wrong.
assuming Daniel and Nastya are a little bit further, but still sort of in reach. And please roll your self-control. Difficulty 6.
Yep. I'm rooting for you.
That's a botch.
Oh no.
Okay.
I stole all the good rolls.
You did. Oh,
right.
I should have spent willpower. Oops. But it wouldn't have helped me anyway. It would have still been a fail. Anyway.
So Bea, you bite in. And you taste delicious feeling Vita. And you lose yourself in the taste. Janina.
I'm paying close attention. As soon as I notice that the time went up, I'm just grabbing Bea and pulling her away.
All right. Then, you were staying nearby, so you can get there in time, no problem. You could have been not right next, but very close.
Yeah.
But roll your, just for the sake of roll your strength roll potence against the same for Bea. Bea, you don't have wound penalties.
Oh, great! So I get to use my 1 dice.
Yes, difficulty 6.
Okay, I have 2 10s and 7, so 3 successes.
I have 0 successes.
Nice.
You're
so you're
weak
able
little vampire.
to do it within 1 turn. So Bea, you get 3 blood points from this. But Janina, without much issue, you're staying close. You realize what's happening. You move very fast, grab Bea, and very easily overpower her to pull her off the woman. And then, as she is attempting to struggle against your strength, hold her until she comes down.
Yep.
The woman isn't conscious for a little bit, but sort of as Bea comes down and as Bea you come to, she starts, you see her eyes are slowly opening, and Ivona gives a little bit of a painful moan.
Okay. In which case, I will rush over to her and I will try.
I will release Bea as soon as I realize that she is back in full control.
Okay. And I'll roll self-control so I can touch her.
I think that's difficulty 7.
Yep.
Because she's, just a person. Sort of
Just a person. Okay, 3 successes now.
No problem.
Could have swapped those roles, but sure. So, as she's sort of coming to, I'll try and help her up. Is the wound still open on her neck?
I would say so, yes.
Okay. If there's a way for me to subtly close that, I would like to. While she's still coming to.
I don't want to make it into a big thing, so I'd say yes.
Okay.
She's still sort
I'll
of
go to help her up.
It does feel a bit awkward, you're not quite sure, but she is a little bit out of it still, as you realize what has happened. And you'll manage to do it under the guise of helping her up.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Not happy about it, but it's fine. And I'll just try and act as though nothing, like, untoward has happened, but sort of go, oh my goodness, you must be so exhausted. Can I help you back to your house?
Well, your manipulation and subterfuge.
Okay.
Just,
that's fair.
or actually, your charisma and subterfuge.
Okay.
Just, to see. Difficulty 6. She trusts you.
Okay. Would polite come into this?
I think so, yes.
Okay, then, for 5, that's 5 successes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She just looks to you. A bit scared at first and embarrassed. What happened?
You just sort of keeled over. No, it's, don't worry about it. They must be working you too hard. That's, goodness.
Yeah, of course they fucking are. Sorry,
of course not.
No, you're a polite one. Yeah. Would you mind helping me get home?
Of course, not a problem. And
okay, thanks. Sorry about that.
I'll sort of put one of her arms over my shoulder and make sure to get her back to her.
And there's just a few houses over. You lead her there without much problem. She seems very embarrassed and just dispirited about everything, but grateful to you and very friendly. Just ask, how are you coping? Do you have a good place to stay?
It's been a bit of a trial, but yes, we've finally gotten ourselves settled.
People's been saying something strange happened when you were staying before. Some accident.
Yeah.
Part of it collapsed.
Yeah.
Did everyone get out okay?
Yes, we're all fine. It was just... And then there was bureaucracy and it was a mess and it took us ages to get settled, but we're fine now.
Glad to hear that.
Yes.
Some people are worried about you there.
Oh, goodness. Oh,
But I'll tell them. I told them you were around, but tell them everyone. It's fine.
Thank you. I'd appreciate that. I'll have to see if I can stop by at some point.
And she says goodnight to you and disappears inside her house.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling now, Bea, after this event and the things you heard?
A little embarrassed for losing control. There's a flicker of feeling responsible for her and feeling like I messed up and a bit worried about what might have happened to her if Janina hadn't been there. There's also this, I'm not entirely sure who was asking about me, but I think I need to go back through my notes and work out who in that area I should be looking out for. But I'm at least not hungry, so I can think slightly more clearly now.
And you reunite with Daniel and Nastya.
And I'll briefly say to Janina, thank you.
Of course, that's what sisters do.
Daniel, as you meet up with him, says, right, let's get back. I need to see how Zoya is holding up.
Yes, of course, and I want to know if the sheriff found out something more about. I really want to help get Dominic back.
Nastya just nods her head at that. And you head up to the bridge and across it towards the Hotel Bristol. The sky is fairly cloudy as you're walking. It's not raining or snowing right now. It's a bit warmer night for the late autumn. And you cross the Vistula River and then continue straight on and then turning right into a street that leads to Hotel Bristol. You see some of the collapsed buildings on the way, and the hotel, a few buildings around it, still standing, having survived the war. Daniel is walking at a, almost, not quite running, but at a very brisk pace, clearly hurrying to be back.
I'm maybe slightly struggling to keep up with him, but I'm doing my best.
Tiny steps there.
I'm quite short.
He will not quite go to the level of leaving you behind, but it's visible he wants to move quickly.
Yep.
Nastya is sort of glancing to Janina from time to time.
I smile at her when our eyes meet. And I also glance between her, Daniel, and Bea. But for Daniel, it's more like just I wish I could make him feel better. With Bea, I'm just looking, how is she doing? If she is worried, if she's checking for omens or something. And for
definitely
Nastya,
worried.
I just look at her because she's pretty.
And she gives you a bit of a smile as well as she catches your eyes. And you are outside of the hotel now.
I take a deep breath before we get inside. And I look at the reception, trying to see, and just general area, if things got back into usual or if it's more empty and stuff.
It is emptier. You see that the cafe downstairs is closed right now.
Is Mariusz still there?
Yes, Mariusz is still there at the reception.
God, he needs a pay rise.
Definitely.
I'm glad when I see him. I genuinely smile at him because I'm glad that he is fine.
And as you enter, he actually gestures towards you to come up.
Our tiny group comes up to him.
He says, he's Wozniak, and he hesitates a little bit. He's Shivek, and then clearly has no clue who Daniel and Nastya are. Well, anyway, I've been instructed to tell you to go to a different room tonight. It's the one a floor up, and he gives you a number, an instruction how to get there. And Janina, you would remember it is the room you've been there once or twice. It's the one where you were introduced to the prince when you first arrived.
Are you right, Mister? Do I know his last name, or he's just Mario?
I think you know him as Mariusz. I don't remember his name right now. I'm sorry.
But then I will tell him Mr. Mario.
Yeah, let's assume it's the last name. Sorry about that. I don't want to shift from all my notes right now. And he says, still here, as good as it gets.
Well, I'm glad that you're in one piece. I smile at him. And then I nod and excuse ourselves.
He just wishes you a pleasant evening.
I'll also give him a sort of smile and follow after Janina.
And you follow after Janina. Daniel and Nastya go with you. And you go a floor further up than where your rooms are and where the lounge for the Elysium used to be so far is. And you get to the indicated place. It's a banquet hall. You see, again, as you enter, at the wall opposite, under a painting depicting a battle scene, there are 8 chairs with 2 in the middle and 3 on each side, and not quite a semicircle, but like half one. But most of them are empty right now. You see a big chandelier lighting the place. You see the walls decorated with red tapestries with golden geometric patterns, and in between the tapestries, elegant wall candelabras. And as you enter, you hear a little bit of a murmur of conversations, but not very many. And you see in the room now, apart from the chairs at the opposite wall to the entrance, there are a few other chairs and tables that were brought into this space, spread around it. You see some people you recognize around. You see Rahela is sitting with Eliza at 2 chairs, and she is talking very quietly. Eliza has her arms around her, and Rahela is saying something to her very quietly, looking rather distraught. You see Cornelia talking to Stanisław Lubomirski, the venture primogen, standing further deeper into the room. You see on a more comfortable, softer, bigger chair that was brought in, Stefania, the toreador who got hurt quite severely last night. She's dressed up in a black dress now, half sitting, half lying there, and you see next to her, in a chair, Mikhail, who is leaning towards her, helping to adjust some cushion under her back. And you see Mikhail's child, Anna Maria, sitting on the other side of Stefania, just observing them, not saying anything at the moment. You see a woman you've seen a few times talking to Sheriff and Antoni Jagoda, not talking to anyone, walking around. You see Edwin Cernowski, the Tremere, around as well. You see Zoya is there with Isidore and Nina, and they are together at one table, and as you enter, Daniel heads immediately straight there.
See you.
We've been ditched.
Yeah, I mean,
it's fine.
He sort of looks to you and just heads there.
There's no hard feelings.
I just nod at him when he leaves.
And you see Felicia standing near the opposite wall. She is talking to a woman who is sitting in the chair most to the right. The woman, looking to be maybe in her 30s, has a curly light brown hair tied back right now, is wearing glasses, a brown skirt and a checkered jacket. And Felicia is standing next to her, leaning forward a little bit, dressed very elegantly in blue jacket and skirt. And they are talking.
The moment that I see her, there's this feeling of utter relief to know that she's safe. And I'd initially, when I walked in, saw Rahela and Elisa and Cornelia and wanted to speak to them. And then the moment I saw Felicia, I just had to go to her.
So you start heading towards Felicia, just as Daniel starts heading towards Zoya and Isidore and Nina. Janina, you are left with Nastya.
I just glance at Nastya, like, that everyone ditched us. And just found her, like, find us some place where, maybe near Raquel and Eliza.
You can sit at the table that is fairly close to them, or you can try to move like all the way up to them, whatever.
Or if there is like something closer to Felicia and Bea, then I will go there.
There is a table around there and a few chairs that you can grab as well.
I will probably grab Nastya's hand and lead her.
She comes with you, looking around.
Is Zygmunt around or not?
No, not at the moment.
And Sheriff also isn't there.
Not at the moment as well.
And I will just sit and chat with Nastya.
And she sits there, glancing to you.
Well, I'm glad that Bea's sire is fine. I'm sure she feels relieved.
She must, yes.
And I probably watch them trying to figure out the mood of Felicia and Bea when they start interacting.
So you watch them, and Nastya is watching curiously as well.
You've got audience.
Yeah. You come up to Felicia. Roll your perception and alertness with difficulty 7 as you come up.
Okay. I don't think insightful is going to apply here, so that is 2 successes.
2 successes. So before Felicia sees you, she's still her back to you, turned towards the woman sitting there. You hear her say, I understand, but I am terribly worried about Bruno. And the woman replies, well, I am sure the prince will make a wise decision. But tell me about teaching. How do you make the adult minds more malleable? And Felicia starts going, well, I don't know. I didn't have much experience with adults. And at this point, you see the woman who is facing you wave at you there. And Felicia turns and sees you as well.
Okay.
And she gives you a relieved smile.
I'm also looking relieved as I look at her.
And you hear the woman say to Felicia, you see, I told you she was going to be all right. Come, join us.
I will come over and nod to them both.
Felicia turns to you. Still sort of, her eyes are sort of darting towards the woman from time to time, but she is definitely fixated on you right now. Bea, my dear. And she comes up to you wanting to grab your hands.
I'll make the self-control check.
It's difficulty, I think 5 for her.
Okay. Yes, that's 2 successes.
2 successes.
I reach out and take her hand.
All right. And she grabs it and looks to you. I was so worried. I
was worried about you. I'm so glad you're safe.
When I heard what happened, and her eyes dart towards the woman again. And the woman interrupts, saying, I'm sorry, Beatrice, I had to keep your mother safe, away from all this.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I give her a warm smile. Am I seeing anything? Is she using obfuscate on her appearance at all?
The woman?
Yes.
Not that you can tell.
Not that I can tell. Okay. Okay.
But roll your perception in occult as you look to her.
Okay.
Difficulty 8.
I have an 8 and a 10. So 2 successes.
2 successes. So as you look to her, trying to discern that, you hear her voice split into several different voices. Some older, some younger, some lower, some higher, different tones, slightly different accents.
Mm-hmm. There's a sort of familiarity to this, and I slightly relax. I don't necessarily know exactly who they are, but something about this feels familiar to me. And so I give the woman a warm smile.
She smiles back and says, I see you recognize me, as far as you remember.
Yes, I think so.
Your mother was worried sick about you. You are really important to her. You had some doubts, didn't you?
I was not as good of a daughter as I should have been.
And Felicia grabs your hand a little bit tighter and pulls you a little bit closer at that. And she says, I'm just happy to see you safe. And there is a smile on her face and relief, but her hands squeeze you very strongly, very tightly, and it is beginning to be a little bit painful.
Okay.
You don't think she's necessarily realizing she's doing that.
I don't pull away, and I accept it. And I give her a smile. I'm just so glad you're safe.
When the Primogen told me I wanted to come back to you, I shouldn't have left you in danger. I shouldn't leave you away from my sight now. And the Malkavian Primogen, the woman sitting in the chair, smiles at that. Now, as we just talked, all minds have to grow and change and develop. So does Beatrice's. She's quite safe, as you see. And Beatrice, you shouldn't make your mother worry.
I understand.
Bea, how are you feeling?
Torn. There's a lot of things happening at the moment. There's the grip on my hand that feels painful, and I feel like I deserve it. There's Mother saying that she can't let me out of her sight, and there's both this relief that I'll be with her and also this frustration. There's a bit of relief when the Primogen steps in and speaks up, but there's also this feeling that Mother's right and I should be close to her. And so I'm feeling a little confused, but ultimately I'm just overcome with this relief that Felicia is safe and I'm with her.
Janina, as you're watching that scene, roll your perception and empathy. Bea, are you hiding much of your feelings?
Maybe a little bit, since I'm in a room with other people.
Then roll self-control and subterfuge. Difficulty is 6 for both of you.
Yeah, I have 2 successes. I have 6 and 2.
I'd be willing to take a slightly higher difficulty because I'm quite emotional at the moment.
Yes, then take 7.
Okay. That is 2 successes.
2 successes. That is the same.
Yeah.
So I think for this particular thing, you are just not to get into a role of this time.
Not again.
I would say, Janina, you don't see very much of Bea. You realize she's putting on some sort of facade and staying controlled, and there is a lot going on inside right now, but you're not quite sure what.
Yeah, I will ask her about how she feels later.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And Felicia, at that, Bea pulls you closer and gives you this hug, as the Primogen is just watching and smiling.
I lean into her. Just rest my head on her shoulder.
And you stay in a hug with her, with all those emotions inside you, for a moment. And Janina, as this is happening, and as Felicia releases them, Bea, from her embrace after a longer while, you do see Stanisław Lubomirski, the ventral Primogen, end his conversation with Cornelia, look around a bit, and definitely his eyes focus on Bea and on the woman sitting in a chair.
Okay. I definitely wonder about the woman that I never saw in my life. And I just maybe look at Nastya and just ask, do you know who that is?
She looks, shakes her head. I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither. But Felicia was looking for Malkavian Primogen. Maybe she found her.
Do you think it's her?
I actually don't know, because I think Bea met them, and
You met them, Janina, and it was a man
all right,
with quite a lot of facial
okay,
hair.
no, sorry, I remember that now. Okay, yeah. I don't know, because when I saw them, they were men, but I don't know. Like, they are Malkavians, like.
Shots fired.
Well, I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
She says.
but yeah, we'll ask later.
We should. And at that, Felicia, clearly she's very emotional. She's just looking at you. She's not finding much words right now. But she releases her. She releases you from her grip. Mm-hmm. And perception and empathy. With difficulty 8.
Okay. I have only one success.
You have one success, but that's enough for what I wanted to check. So first of all, you do look at Felicia, and you do see this overwhelming emotions of relief. She's not really hiding much. Mm-hmm. The relief, the happiness at seeing you, the desperation to keep you close and keep you safe is quite there in the open. Mm-hmm. But through her grip on your hands and the tightness of her hug and a little bit of her fingernails, not quite biting into you, but almost. You can sense some other emotions you might not even be aware of. But what actually catches your attention is that the Primogen seems to be looking towards Nastya, who's observing you with Janina, with slightly raised eyebrows, very fixated on her, looking a little bit surprised.
I kind of glance between them briefly in curiosity.
And the Primogen shakes her head. Well, it seems we have a little bit of an audience. You're friends, I presume.
Yes.
And you see Janina, the woman, wave at you and Nastya.
I wave back. Because I don't know who that is.
Nastya looks kind of perplexed, but as you wave, she waves her hand and gives a very awkward wave as well, looking to you with very questioning.
I just
look.
shrug my, slightly, because I don't want to be rude, but I just
Around this time, you see the Venture Primogen moving towards that scene, towards the female Cavians. And you, Bea, realize this man you had stronger, warmer feeling towards. I don't know what other emotions would he elicit.
I guess professionalism. I don't know if that counts as an emotion, but respect, definitely. And I think there's also a bit of relief to see that he's unharmed. And as I notice him approaching, I'll still be holding one of Felicia's hands in mine, but I will turn to him as he approaches and bow my head.
And he comes up. Felicia bows as well. The woman just gives away with a smile. And before he even has a chance to speak, she says, Stanisław, it's been a long time. And he looks briefly towards you, Bea, and then towards Incertum, the Malkavian Primogen. Indeed, it has, but I'm glad to see you, unharmed and present with us, Primogen. If you do not mind, I would like to speak to you and Miss Wozniak. At which Incertum says, of course, we're free right now. You won't mind. Of course, right? She says to Felicia, which says, of course. And she makes a very slight movement as if she wanted to hold on to Bea's hand, but controls herself.
Once she lets go, I will... Is Mr. Lubomirski leading us elsewhere?
Yes.
Okay.
He will say, please follow me.
Of course. And I will follow, slightly massaging my hand where Felicia was squeezing.
And as you are doing that, Incertum looks to you and leans a little bit towards you, but doesn't touch you at any point. And says quietly, she didn't mean to. She doesn't even know.
Thank you.
And you follow the Venture Primogen out of this room.
As I walk away from Felicia, there's both this feeling of missing her already, and also this feeling like I'm no longer suffocating.
And Mr. Lubomirski leads you with that feeling towards service corridors and down one floor towards his office in the hotel. Janina, you saw all that happen.
Yeah, I just look at Nastya and I say, well, I guess they have a professional meeting right now. And I continue looking.
You good?
Yeah, I just dropped
Chaos.
Drop my dice. I just continue looking towards Felicia, looking what she's doing. And maybe glance towards Daniel as well.
You see Daniel is talking to Zoya, and both he and Isidore have a hand on one of her arms, and she's just saying something, clearly very emotional, and Nina is near there as well, listening. And Felicia walks up towards you and says, Janina.
Good evening, Felicia. Glad to see you're safe.
Likewise.
Please sit.
To see with you and Bea. Oh, thank you. But I actually wanted to speak to Rahela a little bit.
Oh, of course.
Well, it might be a hard time for her right now.
Yes, does anyone knows where Bruno is?
Yes, from what I heard, he got into a little bit of trouble.
Does he need help?
Well, none that we can provide. He's not harmed, but he has disobeyed some of the orders placed on him.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
It is indeed.
Is he in the hotel?
I think so. I haven't seen him.
Okay. Well, I hope he will be led back with us. I don't know what exactly did he do, but I'm sure he did what he thought was best.
Perception and empathy. Difficulty 6.
Okay, I have 4 successes. I have 8, 10, 6, 9.
Okay, so you do see Felicia is unconvinced by what you're saying, and she's considering whether to tell you something more or not. But she decides against it. And smiles. You always had such a good heart.
So does Bruno.
He does. But so full of pain.
Yeah, I noticed. I'm very sad that Leonard is gone.
Yes, I was very sad to hear that. After all you did for him, and must have been another blow to Bruno as well.
Yeah, well, if you find out anything about Bruno and any way we could help, at least, or talk to him, then you know where to find me.
Of course. And thank you for helping keep Bea safe.
Of course.
I'm glad you have each other.
Yes, she's my sister. I would die for her.
She gives you a wide smile and nods her head.
I know.
And you notice like a note of approval in there.
Yeah, you died. Just keep my child safe.
Felicia really thought then perish.
A little bit of that, yes. And then she moves to talk to Rahela.
I get back to Nastya.
Nastya says, maybe we should talk to people more about what's happening.
Yeah, I worry about Bruno because I don't know what could he do. Like, did he embrace more people, or I don't know.
Don't really know much about him. I mean, he played piano.
Oh, he's
pain in him all the time.
Yeah, he's very sad.
Wouldn't forget the pain.
Yeah, I think Bea was quite close with him. Well, I guess we will have to talk to Raquel to find out more. Well, at least he's unharmed.
Yes, at least.
I would really like to talk to Zygmunt, but I don't know, he's not here. I guess he's with the prince.
Probably. They are very close, from what I heard.
Yeah, well, he told me as well. Yes. Well, I still want to talk to him and just tell him more about what Bea told us about you and Sigmund. Because I think if the darkness wants him and you, it's not gonna stop.
No,
It's just a matter of time when we could get attacked here again.
well, hopefully he will be around. I'm sure he's at the hotel.
Yeah,
I don't think he'd leave right now.
yeah. I guess we have to put our task on hold. Wait when things settle down more.
We'll see about that, I guess. But we'll talk to Sigmund when we get a chance.
Yeah, maybe you'll come here. Let's just wait what Bea and the mysterious woman / person is going to get with the ventriprimogen.
She gives a little bit of smile at that, but she doesn't lie. You see her hand moves like slightly closer towards your hand, but not quite touching it.
I just give her a shy smile. And maybe also put my hand a bit closer.
She smiles.
I'm glad that you're safe and that you're here with me.
Yes, I'm glad you're here. And her hand moves slightly closer to yours again.
Mm-hmm. I probably smile and like place my hand on her hand.
And she gives you a warmer smile at that. How are you feeling, Janina?
Well, right now, I mean, not happy because the circumstances here are not like happy, but it makes me feel happy that she seems to reciprocate the same feelings that I have for her. And that makes me feel like a bit awkward, but also like slightly not, I'm happy, but not like overly happy because I'm still upset about what's happening. But on personal level, like that there is this moment of like peace and happiness. But I also worry about her, and there is a part of me that is afraid to get close to her because I don't want to lose her as well as I did Mara.
But in this moment,
Yes,
holding hands and smiling at each other.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Bea, you enter the office of the ventriloquist here at the hotel. He gestures towards the seats, offering them to you and Insertum. And Insertum sits herself in the chair.
I will also do so.
Yeah. Stanisław also takes a chair opposite you. Looking to both of you, thank you for agreeing to speak immediately, Primogen. And Miss Wozniak, I am very happy to see you well after last night's attack.
Thank you, sir. Same to you.
I heard that you helped capture one of the attackers and the one who betrayed Cornelia's child.
Yes, sir. And there's that feeling in my chest again of somewhere between satisfaction, anger, grief.
The ventriprimogen continues. I assure you that he is secured, and we will get to talking to him. He is not leaving this place. And thank you for your bravery in capturing him and in attempting to defend Cornelia.
Of course. I just wish we could have done more.
We all do. But the matter I wish to speak about is related to last night's attack, but slightly different.
Of course.
Given last night's confrontation with the Sabbat and the immediate coming confrontation, and your presence here, Primogen, says, turning to Insertum, I wanted to go back to some of the information Miss Wozniak conveyed a while ago. Miss Wozniak, you talked to me about a personal presence you encountered down in the sewers of the city. You mentioned then that you spoke about it to the Primogen. And Primogen, since you're here, I would very much like to revisit that topic to see what further details can be learned and to confirm some of the information that I already received. Insertum shifts a little bit in her chair and smiles a little bit and says, well, dear Stanisław, I would be very happy to share any important details, but I'm afraid I never had such conversation with Beatrice. Therefore, I do not have other details to share. Stanisław glances towards you. Bea, how are you feeling at this moment? What's running through your head?
Confused. I will spend a point of willpower to push through my memories to the night that is in question.
And as you do remember being in the sewers and seeing this figure looking at you with pale eyes and running away and encountering the Malkavian Primogen, who in a similar voice that split into several different voices told you more about Vladivar, or at least that was what they called this presence.
I looked to them curiously.
They look to you and continue looking to Stanisław. Please, don't hold it against Beatrice. You know, our minds play tricks on us from time to time. She is still young and clearly didn't have a chance to learn to always distinguish those tricks from what really happens. But she shows great promise, as I'm sure you observed, dear Stanisław. Venture Primogen just says, of course, I understand. And his eyes dart briefly to you, Bea, but then focus on Insertum. Thank you so much, Primogen, for clearing that up. In that case, I believe there's nothing further to discuss at this moment. Thank you so much for taking time to speak to me. Miss Wozniak, once again, I'm glad to see you safe. We will, I'm sure, speak shortly.
Yes, sir. And there's this creeping feeling of embarrassment and shame and doubting myself, but also feeling like I'm sure that I saw what I saw, but maybe I didn't. I'm confused. But as I'm being dismissed, I will smile politely, maybe with a slight grit of my teeth, and bow my head and excuse myself, maybe slightly faster than I normally would.
And you see Stanisław walk towards the desk and pick up the phone there. And Insertum gives him a little bit of a way, and you leave together with her towards the corridor. And as you are walking, you hear a voice in your head, the voice that sounds like several voices speaking directly into your thoughts. We need to talk, Bea and Janina. Can we maybe go to your room?
I will send back, of course. And head in the direction of my room.
And the Primogen walks slightly behind you, following you, with a slight smile on her face. And I think this is a good moment to take a little bit of a break. Thank you so much for following this story with us. We will be back in about 15 minutes to see what happens next at the Elysium after the attack. Please stay with us to see what else is coming Bea and Janina's way. See you after the break.
Sure. Take care.
Take care. Goodbye.
And welcome back after the break. Thank you so much for staying with us to continue this story. And we will jump right back in. Janina.
Yay!
You're sitting for a little bit with Nastya, smiling at each other, holding hands. You see Numen Yagoda talking to Edwin Cernovsky, the Tremere. You see Felicia speaks a little bit to Rahela and Eliza. They're engaged for a moment in a conversation, and then she moves away, looks to you, gives you one more smile and approving nod, and she sits somewhere on her own, and is looking at everyone in the room, sort of observing.
Everyone
Quite a
observing
lot
everyone.
of interest. And you see, around the time, Zygmunt walks in, not from the entrance that you used, but from the door that is to the side of the 8 chairs at the other end of the room. And he walks into...
Okay, I look at Nastya, give her like this, yes, he's here. Look.
Yeah, she also smiles. And you see Zygmunt looks to you and smiles towards you. Heads over towards Isidore, Zoya, and Daniel. Stops there for a moment, starts saying something, and see Zoya look with a little bit of anger and a little bit of pain. And Isidore speaks very softly, very quietly for a moment, at which Zygmunt just smiles approvingly and nods, and then starts heading towards you. And he comes up to your table.
Good evening.
Janina, Nastya, good evening. May I?
Of course. And I let go of Nastya's hand and just like awkwardly put it in my lap.
Nastya retracts her hand as well. Zygmunt doesn't seem to notice, or at least he doesn't comment on it at all. He just sits himself down. I am glad to see both of you made it through last night. I know you were both here when everything started. I, unfortunately, was away. It took me a minute to get back to the hotel.
We were actually wanting to speak to you about, well, it's related to what happened, but I don't know, maybe can we go somewhere private?
Of course, yes, of course, if that would make you more comfortable.
Yes, it's just I don't want to startle anyone.
And he stands up.
And I stand and look at Nastya because I expect her to go.
Yeah, she's also standing up to go with you. And Zygmunt leads you the way he came into service corridors where some kindred have their offices, and downstairs into his office here. You see the newspapers lying on the table, some books on the wall. You see a big map of Warsaw now on one wall, pinned up there. And he offers you seats. Nastya sits. He himself sits down.
Yeah, I sit next to her. I look at him and I.
So, before we get into this important matter, how are you both holding up?
I'm fine. I just need to heal, but I'm fine.
I heard you were fighting a gangrel.
Yes, that. Yeah, I'm glad that Bea and Abelard came to. I don't think I would be able to help myself without them. So it's good that they captured him.
And he smiles, and I'm glad they were there to help you as well. Are you wounded?
I am, but I'm fine. It's not. I'm gonna heal. I just didn't have time to feed as much to heal everything, but
you may notice these wounds take more of a vita and more time to heal.
Yeah,
but don't disregard them.
I will try not to. As soon as I will find someone and time to properly heal.
Of course. Our supplies are a little bit depleted. We lost many of servants last night.
I wouldn't expect it. I prefer to go on my own, but I would. What I wanted to talk to you about is that I'm sure that Bea will also want to talk to you, but she's now with the Ventral Primogen, so maybe later. But before what happened yesterday, Bea had an omen, but even before that, she, like a few nights before, we just didn't get time to tell you. But she had this feeling when she was in the room that there was the darkness that wanted specifically you and Nastya for some reason. Like Bea said, an idea that it wants you, and so I just want you to know it and to be aware of it.
He listens to you, glances to Nastya. Do you have any idea what this might be about? Nastya just says, I don't know. I'm not sure why anything would be specifically after me. Osmund thinks for a moment. Neither do I, but it is something we should keep in mind. Thank you, Janina, although I am not surprised our enemies would target me. Each of us on the Primogen Council expects to be the next target.
I know.
I will be more careful now.
But the thing is, I guess it wants to destroy you because of the idea, not because of who you are, but I don't know, an idea. It's like, I don't know. I'm sure Bea would be better at explaining it. I really hope you can talk to her.
Of course, I will try.
I just wish
time. It is a busy time.
Yes.
I will keep
I
it
know.
in mind, though. I'd like to think of myself as a man of ideas, but not sure which one would specifically make me such a target.
Yeah, it's hard to think what would interest Sabbat.
He looks to Nastya, you should be very careful. I'm sure I can take on quite a lot of them if I needed to, although hopefully that can be avoided.
Yeah,
You, however, and he looks to Nastya, make sure you stick to safe places. You're welcome at mine anytime you like. And she just nods her head. Thank you, I don't want to impose. You never do.
She's staying with us now at our haven.
That the haven you received from convention
Yes.
should be well hidden. Make sure you are not followed back there.
Yes, I hope we're trying our best. But yeah.
I still think around here might be safer ultimately. There are many people here to help each other and defend.
I know. Aren't we they could attack us any moment again.
They always could. They did. And they saw that they can't take this place easily.
Also, I wanted to ask, do you have any new information about Dominic? Because I really want to help getting him back.
That's Dominik Savitsky.
Yes.
I am aware he is missing. I do not have any information at present.
Is anyone else also missing from ours, like from the hotel, except or just Dominic?
No, everyone else is accounted for.
I wonder why they took him, especially.
I do not know. I will admit I didn't look much into this particular matter. The sheriff will definitely be able to tell you more, but be careful with breaching the topic. He is in a lot of pain.
I can imagine. I just want him to know that I'm here to offer any assistance in retrieving Dominic.
He gives you this gentle, benevolent smile, and I am very sure he will appreciate the help and accept it gladly.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Is there anything else either of you, wishes to talk about?
I look at Nastya.
Nastya looks towards Primogen, and she says, no, I don't think so. I'm trying to think what these things Bea so might mean, but I don't know. But maybe we can discover something. Can I come speak to you sometime soon? And he says, of course. As I said, I will be fairly busy in the most coming nights. There is one more matter I wanted to discuss with you. How is your research progressing?
Well, slowly.
We have managed to save some of the bodies from the hotel and put them in cold storage for a short time. So if you are ready to proceed, there is some material for you to work on.
Okay.
I won't hide the fact that some more blood at this point would be very welcome by everyone in the Camarilla.
Of course, if it's an urgent matter, I'm sure that me and Nastya can get to it.
Nastya just nods. Of course, I will help you translate everything. I can be with you every step of the way and read whatever you will need. And Zygmunt just smiles. Well, I'm very glad you two are getting along so well. It's a pleasure to see. Please stay in the Elysium. There will be a court gathering later tonight.
Right.
Do not leave before that.
Okay, sure. We both get back. We're waiting for Bea anyway.
Yes, and, well, let her come to me. You know where to find me.
Yes.
We can discuss more.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your concern, Janina. I appreciate it.
Of
And
course.
please, both of you, take care of yourselves.
And you, of yourself.
He gives you this broad, friendly smile.
That is Zygmunt.
And with that, I assume you leave.
Yeah.
Are you heading back to the banquet hall?
Yes, I guess we will get back because I don't know where else I want to wait for Bea, so we are getting back to figure out if she's there.
You're heading back there. Meanwhile, Bea, which room are you leading the Primogen to?
I guess mine and Felicia's.
All right. You have the key. You enter. The Primogen takes a seat on the bed, gesturing for you to
I will
see.
do so as well.
And she gives you a smile, raising eyebrows a little bit. Oh, Beatrice, I told you, he's not a problem unless you go looking for him. And what did you do? Started telling people about him so that they might get curious or scared and go looking for him, making him a problem. Now that wasn't very wise, was it?
I'm sorry.
No matter now, right now. Do you tell them a lot?
I think so. I want to help. And information is one of those ways that I can help.
Of course, if selected carefully. How much do you tell of what you see to hear? Not with your eyes, as such.
It depends. Mother and Janina I tell almost all of it to. To others, I guess anything that seems particularly dangerous that might become relevant to them.
Do you think they believe you?
Not always.
No, you see, the more you tell them, the less they will believe. That's why you must learn to decide what to tell and why. It's a trick. It will take you some time to master. Sometimes it's better to tell. Sometimes it's better to keep things to yourself. Let certain events happen. Wait until you learn more.
The attack on Elysium, was that one of those that I should have kept to myself, or was that one I should have told?
Oh no, that didn't matter very much either way. Of course everyone knew the Elysium was going to be attacked. Where else would Sabbat strike next? after the anarchs were, well, made not a problem for them. I'm sure they appreciated your eagerness.
I'm sitting and thinking over what they've said and feeling a little bit like a child that's being scolded, but also paying genuine interest and attention to what they're saying.
Incertum lets you think for a moment, looks around the room, picks up one of the poetry books, looks through it, puts it back on the nightstand. You must have a lot of questions. I'm here right now. I will be gone fairly soon again, so now would be the time to ask.
You come and go so much. Why don't you stay more?
There's no need for me to be here right now. Not very important need anyway.
How do you recognize what needs to be held back and what needs to be said?
Experience. Sometimes. Well. And she leans closer towards you in this almost conspirational way. Sometimes you have certain goals. And you might decide not to share something. But shh, don't tell anyone about that. It's the little secret.
Understood.
Sometimes, if you're feeling very naughty, you might also throw in some nonsense. Keep them on their toes.
And if they already don't believe me and I lie,
well, keeps them guessing.
Fair. I sit sort of ruminating on that again for a little while. And slightly struggling to think of questions because I don't know what I've asked them before and I don't know. It's almost like I don't have context for a lot of the conversation that we're having, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah. They give you some space. And then glance to you. You are a different person now. I see you don't know so much of our previous meetings. Because you are someone different, it's only natural. There's nothing wrong about that. I'm someone different as well.
A person of many voices.
She gives you a smile, a little bit of pride.
Well, since you've said I can ask questions, what are your goals at the moment?
Well,
or would that be telling?
Wouldn't be very smart to share now, would we? But I of course want to rebuild the city, both the mortal one and ours, the Camarilla. What else would I want?
I'd like to activate dementation, the power name of which I've...
Chaos.
Thank you.
What are you looking for?
their goals.
Goals. Okay. So, roll your perception and occult with difficulty 9, I think, for this.
I have a single 9.
You have a single 9.
I do.
And you focus on the face of the Primogen, and you see this face and different faces almost underneath it, blending with it, becoming this one, and then separating again. And you see, for a moment, as she's sitting on a bed, her sitting with a city behind her, standing, buildings looking different, it all looking a little bit unfamiliar. Some of the structures, the tall structures in the city center you do not recognize. But you see it's the city rebuilt, and you see that is genuine on a single success.
Fair. I'll just smile.
You see it's genuine for both, like the city and the kindred city. As well. Okay. I wasn't very clear about that, but
that's fine.
Imogen looks to you. Sometimes honesty is also the right choice. It's a trick.
I'll work on it.
But there is one more thing we need to do. And she reaches towards your journal.
Okay.
Well, you have to make yourself into the person who doesn't remember him now, don't you? There are some fragments you need to remove.
Okay. And I'll slowly reach towards the journal. And start flicking through it.
Why do you hesitate?
Because it's the only thing that I have holding my memory in place.
Well, I would never touch the others, but I need you to become the person who doesn't remember that presence. Our neighbor.
Understood. And I keep looking through, trying to find any references, and if I find them, then I will quite delicately rip out the sections.
I believe you will become the person you need to be quite easily with your special talent. You are very lucky in some ways. So much you can become.
I feel like I've heard something like that before.
I did talk to the previous you. And there was someone else, I feel. But don't worry about that. Sometimes I wish my students had the talent of becoming others. If they could just forget themselves as people who can't read or write, it would be so much easier to teach them, don't you think?
It's also harder to remember the lessons.
Well, they don't have to forget everything. Just their lack of knowledge. But I'm afraid it's not how teaching works. Exactly. Or maybe it does. I'm still learning.
Aren't we?
And you see they're focused on something and thinking to themselves.
Mm-hmm. I'm occasionally glancing to the note that I've ripped out and put in the bin.
You see Inceptum picks them up in her pocket. How are you feeling as this is happening?
Uncomfortable. A little upset. But also curious. I have slightly mixed feelings with the Primogen. I quite enjoy their company and I enjoy talking with them, but there's also a little bit of uncertainty around them. But I guess I've just been feeling a lot of uncertainty recently.
And after a moment, the Primogen shakes her head. Well, I believe about teaching, I need to talk to Felicia.
Yes, she would be the expert.
You do have a lovely room here.
We do hope you'll pop by again.
I will. Not quite sure when yet, but I'm staying for a little bit longer. Bea. And now, her face looks more serious, and she says, "Don't worry about him. It's better not to remember. It shouldn't be a problem for you."
It is forgotten.
Very well then. I am very proud of you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work here.
Of course.
And Primogen steps up. And starts heading out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Not really waiting for you at this moment.
That's fair. I will follow out after them, locking up the room, but I'm at a slower pace. I'm thinking about what was discussed. And I'll head back towards the room that everyone was meeting in, the banquet hall.
And Janina, as you get there, soon after that, you see Bea also step in. You see the Malkavian Primogen is now sitting at the same chair, the one furthest to the right. And the Venture Primogen is not here at the moment.
I wait to see where Bea goes, if she comes to our place or if she stays with Felicia.
I look up as I enter the room. I've kind of been looking down at the ground as I walked. And then I'll sort of glance around the room and see who's still about.
We'll wave.
Is Felicia still in the room?
Yes, she is in the room.
Okay. I will wave to Janina, but I will head back over to Mother. There's a very strong part of me that that wants to go to Felicia, and there's a very strong part of me that wants to go to Janina, but my feet end up going towards Felicia.
And she smiles at you and waves you to come over to her.
I'll go and sit next to her, feeling very unsettled, still a little upset from what just transpired.
Felicia leans towards you. You see her body stiffen slightly as you approach, but her face smiles.
I'm sorry, Mother.
Are you quite all right, my dear?
I'll be all right. And I try to measure my emotions out, make them more comfortable for her. Take a couple of deep breaths that I don't need to just try and regulate everything.
She reaches towards you. And let's see. And
I've missed this.
yeah. You do. Calm down. You feel calmer. The unease dissipates.
Thank you, Mother.
You're very welcome, my dear. I know. Imogen wouldn't be offended if I say it, that talking to them can be upsetting. I think they could take pride in it.
You seem interesting in your teaching.
Yes, they seem to be a teacher right now, working with adults of the city, those who never got a chance to learn to read and write. There's still, sadly, quite a lot of such people in the country. But many are coming, help rebuild the Warsaw right now, find some work, and, well, they are learning. It's good to see the desire for learning still present at all stages of life.
Indeed. And I focus on what Mother is saying and allow the memories of earlier to wash away.
Around the time, Janina, you see, Bea went to Felicia, first of all. What do? Do you approach, or do you...
I will probably just continue sitting with Nastya, but inside I think just like, well, now we have been ditched the second most important thing in Bea's life.
And Nastya has been talking to you a little bit about research and trying to...
Yeah, I think we were probably like thinking about what to do.
And she's not trained in medicine in any way, but she remembers surprisingly a lot of what you explained to her and told her. Of course, offers to be there for you and help you translate and help you as much as she will be able to, working on the bodies as well to extract blood and try to store it. And around the time you see a person enter the room who you recognize as Roman's face that he wears in public. It's a fairly shabby-looking man in his 30s. He's wearing right now a grey coat and a cap on his head.
Dolores Singh Hop.
Of course. And he enters the room, looks around a bit. First sees Bea and makes a slight movement towards her. You, Bea, would see him as well.
I think the moment I see him, there's this absolute relief that he's safe, and I do go to stand up to go speak to him.
And Felicia doesn't stop you. She just, of course, go. And he's moving towards you and looking to you, Janina.
I'll wander in that direction.
I wave with him with a big smile on my face because I'm also very happy to see him.
He says, "Come, join us. Don't be shy."
I'd like to roll self-control.
Difficulty 7.
Yeah.
It's going to be important in the moment because he is coming towards you, evidently planning to embrace you.
And
he does. Oh my God, I'm so happy to see you.
I'm clinging to the back of his coat and just holding him in relief. I'm so glad you're safe.
Janina, do you come up after being called?
Group hug! Get in here!
Do you stay at the table?
No, I won't. As soon as I see them hugging
Nastya just sort of waves at you, but she stays at the table.
I will come up and also give him and Bea both a hug.
Group hug! And you're hugging.
Let Mikhail have something to think about.
Do you glance to Mikhail as it happens?
No, it's just me thinking that he's there witnessing all of this.
You have no idea what he does then, or how, if at all, he responds to this.
But I don't think Janina cares.
Hugging both of you. I'm so glad to see you. When I heard what happened, fuck me.
Yes, we were worried about you, but we are so happy that you're safe.
I wasn't even here, so
Yeah, that was for the
fine.
best.
Gotta say, I can't say that you missed something you should have stuck around for.
Well,
I say
you
that
don't
quite
think
quietly.
Getting hit with a axe in the face by some Sabbat fucko is worth staying for? I don't think so either, but
Yeah.
well, there's no shortage of them, General.
I wish we could have saved Dominic. He's abducted, and I don't know if you heard.
Yeah, I don't know the guy very well. I heard of him. What happened?
We don't know. I came to check up on him and Diana, and only Diana was there with Arek. And I glanced at Bea.
I've pulled out my notebook and I'm looking at the last couple of pages. He was taken by one of the Tzimitzi.
I
just have a mental
fuck
image
that.
of
I guess
Oscar
that's goodbye to that fellow. Although he has some powerful friends. But maybe not. I'm glad you two are safe.
I'm glad you're safe.
Yes.
And, well, I'm glad you didn't get to try to help too much and be taken up as well.
Well, we tried. And I look at Bea. This time it was Bea's idea.
What? I look a bit surprised.
Well,
you wanted to help Cornelia.
Somehow,
and of course I couldn't let you do it on your own.
The mindless among us are lucky.
I look embarrassed.
He's not keeping it quiet anyway. He's
that's fine.
With everyone around.
I'm actively looking embarrassed.
But I'm glad you two are safe.
Yes, and my eyes glance towards Nastya. Then he says that because I'm also happy that she's safe as well.
Whatever. Lowers his voice. Who is that?
That's Nastya. She's a fellow Bruja.
All right.
I look to sort of add something and then don't quite know what to add.
Gives you a bit of a curious look, but then just gives an ostentatious shrug.
She's my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Go on, Roman.
Nah, he's clueless. He probably doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Valid.
So, I say, well, anyway, I have to make some rounds. I'm here representing the clan. Since my sire has more important things to take harass to.
Is Wolf okay?
Yeah, we're fine. We have our fair share of trouble. Sabbat will pick you off if you're running around in the city, so we need to stay hidden and careful.
Oh, good
and
thing that you are
Zimishi
good
facts you can't really hide from.
Yes.
And he looks to you, Bea, especially when he says that.
Sorry, what did you say?
This Zimishi facts you can't really hide from very well.
If you need help with anything, just let us know.
Yes, of course.
I would never dream to drag you into even more shit. You seem to be quite skilled at finding trouble yourself, though. But I appreciate the honor.
Well, if you ever have some shit and you feel like you don't have people to drag into it, then we're here.
Throw it right in. No.
But really, Roman,
if I conveyed it to my sire, she will be on you the moment she can.
If there's anything we can do to help with locating Dominic, please he was a friend of Mara, and he is my friend too.
He looks sort of deflated at that, and kind of gestures for you to lean closer.
And I lean closer.
Says very quietly, between you and me, kid, I don't think my sire gives two shits about Dominic, and I don't think she'll be doing any looking. It's the sheriff you need to speak to.
Yeah, that I know. I'm waiting for him to come around. But, yeah, I just don't want anything to happen to him. After what we had seen in that Shinichi house last time, I just can't bear to think that the same fate would fall upon poor Dominic.
Perception and empathy, both of you if you want.
Sure.
What is the difficulty?
Difficulty 6.
Okay, I have one success.
One success.
3.
3. Janina, you don't see anything. You don't have any idea, except he just looks kind of deflated. Bea, you do see that he very clearly thinks that it's a done deal and that nothing can be done for Dominic. And to him, he finds it endearing and worrying what Janina is saying, but he doesn't quite say it out of some compassion,
That's
perhaps.
fair.
But
I'm also not saying anything.
but to him it's a done deal already.
Okay.
Well, as I said, make rounds, talk to people, and he steps away.
Your favorite pastime.
And he starts walking towards Jagoda.
I sit back next to Nastya and I offer Bea a seat. Do you want to join us or do you want to go back to Felicia?
Yes.
And there's a slight mischievous look on my
Felicia
face.
gives you a smile and says, sort of gestures to you to sit down. She's observing you, but she seems happy to have you near Janina.
Okay, in which case, then yes.
Right now, when Janina said that she would die for her, it's fine.
Got some brownie points.
Yes.
You can stay. In which case, noting that Felicia is all right with it, I will sit down with them.
So tell us, how did the thing with primogenous, plural, was that Milkivan Primogen or was that woman?
Yes, that was the Primogen.
And I'm just like, wow. Because last time I saw them, they were men.
They're a person of many voices and of many faces. They change all the time.
Yeah. Well, glad to see that Felicia found them at last.
Yes, although for how long they'll be here, we'll see.
Well, that's none of our business, I guess.
I'm not going to pretend to understand.
Yeah, so what did they talk with you about? Did they ask about the attack?
I don't remember.
No.
And I'm sitting there, this feeling of shame, frustration, curiosity, but...
Can I try to pick it up?
Yeah, absolutely.
How she's feeling?
Perception and empathy. Bea, are you hiding your feelings?
I'm in Elysium, so yes, probably.
Then roll your self-control.
Okay, what is the difficulty?
6 for both of you.
Okay, I have 36.
I have 2 successes.
Yes, you see it.
Okay, I don't want to push it here in the presence of others, so I just nod and change the topic, probably. And I will tell Bea that we spoke with Zygmunt about the darkness, and I will convey everything. And that she is welcome to come and find him when she will be able to.
I'll need to refresh my memory as to what that was about. Okay. Well, when we have a moment, I guess. And I glance around the room because I feel like I'm still looking for someone, but I can't quite remember who I'm looking for.
Well, as you look around the room, roll perception and I'll let them. On difficulty 7.
Okay. One success.
One success. So, you don't see more new people than the ones I described here at the moment. But you do notice your Primogen still looking towards Nastya from time to time, and very clearly towards her.
Okay.
With a bit of a smile on raised eyebrows.
Can I try and read that expression?
Yeah, you can roll like perception and empathy. Absolutely. When I roll for,
I get the feeling they might be quite good at this, but we'll see.
Although, to be honest, I don't think they're trying very hard. So actually, just roll to see if you get any success.
Yep, I have one success.
Yeah, they're not like you see, they're not really bothering to hide it. There's curiosity there, and some surprise. But at this moment, the surprise is kind of gone, and it's mostly curiosity.
Okay. I quickly note something in my journal.
And you see also Mikhail Orlov heading towards your table.
No.
I will straighten up as he approaches.
He is. You see from the way he moves, he's dressed now very elegantly in a grey suit, blue tie, and matching blue pocket square. But from the way he moves, you can see that he is in a little bit of pain still, quite visibly. It's another thing you notice. He approaches you with a smile.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. May I interrupt for a moment?
Of course.
Won't take much of your time. But I wanted to thank you for trying to save Fabian yesterday. The 3 of you.
Well, I wish we could have saved him. My condolences.
Yes.
So do I. But I thank you all the same. Nastya also says, of course. We did the best we could. So it wasn't enough. And says, have a pleasant evening.
You too, sir.
You as well. And I nodded him.
And he turns away and leaves you.
Wow, my first normal interaction with him.
And he goes back towards Stefania, who is sitting in armchair, collapsed there. He leans over her with clear concern. And you are left at your table again. Around this time, you see Joachim enter the room with Magdalena and Konrad. You see few more people coming in, some of whom you don't recognize. And you hear Jagoda saying to a few people that the court is about to assemble. Please don't leave right now. She passes your table as well.
And I get up and go away. No, I'm joking.
Well, there is a person who at that stands out, actually. And that is Zoya. Not while Jagoda is near her. But you do hear her as the whole group kind of moves with her towards the door, and Isidore tries to put a hand on her shoulder. You hear her say, "I don't need some bullshit shoved down my throat. Fuck that. I'm not staying here. I can't." And Isidore sort of hesitates. Daniel is about to grab her, but then Isidore stays his hand and says, "Okay, let her go." And Zoya just walks away. And as she walks away, she passes in the doorway the sheriff, who gives her a bit of a look. She doesn't even glance at him. She just goes straight out. But he doesn't seem majorly concerned. He's heading further into the room, passes you, nods to you as he passes. And you see Mikhail takes his chair, one chair away from the Malkavian Primogen, closer to the prince. And you see Edwin step forward and sit between the two of them. Is there anything else you wish to do at this moment? Any thoughts you wish to express?
As the sheriff walks in the room, there's like a little bit of mild anger and frustration, but it's mostly died away at this point. There's just kind of the remnants of it from yesterday. But I still will nod to him respectfully as he passes.
Janina?
I probably just look at the sheriff and I try to figure out anything from his face, like how he feels.
Roll perception and empathy.
How many times I rolled
Absolutely.
it today?
Difficulty is 6.
Okay, I have 2 successes, 9 and 6.
2 successes. Oh, well, surprisingly. Oh my god, he rolled... Yeah, that's a lot of ones, and only 1 success left. So,
He's the
you do see...
boy.
Yes, you do see that he is distracted and distraught and very much preoccupied with those thoughts. There is some restlessness. He's trying to appear composed, but he doesn't quite succeed very well. And he's visibly shaken. And his thoughts are only partially here.
Yeah, I can understand that because I feel that I can imagine how he feels because I lost someone I loved too, but there is just like this uncertainty that he might still be alive. And I imagine that it has to like pain him, that the helplessness, and that he has to put on a face and work while he would rather doing something else. So I probably keep my eyes on the sheriff the whole time.
And you, Belle, where are you focused on?
I'm focused on the Primogen seated and just waiting to see what happens. I do glance at the sheriff briefly, but I'm trying to remain focused on the here and now.
As you glance around, you see Elisa and Rahela stand up and move slightly closer. And you see Felicia heading towards you, and she takes a seat at your table. But doesn't say anything, just gives you a smile.
I will smile back at her and move my chair slightly closer to hers.
She smiles at that very warmly. And after a moment, you see two more people enter, and they are Bruno, walking slowly, leaning on his cane, dressed very elegantly, black evening suit and white shirt. And he is accompanied by Bea. This person would seem maybe very vaguely familiar. And you, Janina, recognized this man as the Nosferatu hound Clemens, who is at this moment also wearing his human face of a man in his 50s, sort of shabby pullover, with a crucifix hanging on his neck. And he is very gently helping Bruno.
As soon as I see Bruno, I will linger on him.
Is there anything specific you're looking for, or are you just...
I just wanted to see. I want to, what is happening with him, his emotions right now.
Roll perception and empathy again, why not?
The night of insight checks.
Yeah.
I have one success.
You have one success. Yeah, he has none. So,
it's
this
not a
guy's
good night for
betrayed
others.
me recently. But you see that he is in deep pain and despair. And there is some maybe determination, maybe hope there, but mostly there's despair and pain, and he looks very deflated.
Okay, I just look at him and think that I really want to talk to him later, if there will be a moment.
And they walk. Not quite to the very front, but they stop sort of in the room between a few other people. Not very far from your table, but more in the front hall of the room. And not long after that, the door to the side of all the chairs opens, and you see Zygmunt Ray, the Druha Primogen, enter with Stanisław Lubomirski, the Ventry Primogen. And Zygmunt takes a seat in one of the chairs in the center, to the right of the prince, and to the left of her chair sits Stanisław, the Ventry Primogen. And almost immediately after that, Katarzyna Chodkiewicz, the prince of the city, enters. And as she does, the Primogen all stand up and bow, and everyone else also stands up and bows.
I'll do the same.
I'll do the same, but less enthusiastically.
Well, not everyone is equally enthusiastic in the room. And Katarzyna, just a slight smile, but very restrained one, as she sits in her chair. You see that she is wearing a grey three-piece suit. Her hair is, as always, pinned up in an elaborate, elegant hairstyle. Her cold blue eyes seem to be piercing everyone in the room. As everyone returns to their seats after she sits down. She considers the room for a short moment and then starts speaking. I know we are all shaken by yesterday's events, and the loss of valued members of our community. I will not keep you here longer than necessary, nor will I try to convince you that we accomplished a great victory. We are not victorious yet, and the threat to our society and our way of living continues. But we've withstood an attack by the Sabbat. They know that they cannot simply storm this place and destroy us. They tried, and they failed. We can defend ourselves here. The Sabbat's losses were higher than ours yesterday. And here in this place, they cannot pick us off one by one, as they surely would, were we to spread out around the city. Me, the Primogenic Council, and the Sheriff will continue to defend this place. I thank you all for your resilience. And you see, some of the people to that, Lucian, Jagoda, Clemens, few others, bow their heads slightly. You see some dons, among them Cornelia, Isidore, Daniel. Felicia bows her head. Nastya does as well, almost instinctively.
I don't.
I do after a brief moment of hesitation.
It's running through your head, Bea.
This unsettled feeling, but also the lessons from, well, I don't remember the lessons, but the fact that this was forewarned and nothing was done, or it was used. And I wonder whether it made any difference at all.
And you, Janina, what's running through your head?
I just listened to what the prince says, and I get that it's better to be here. There's a lot of us, and I probably more glance around the others to see how they react to what prince says.
Anyone in particular interests you?
Well, definitely. What's his name? Lucian?
Lucian bows.
Okay. Daniel?
Not at all.
Isidore?
Not at all.
Well, what's to be expected?
Roman bows.
Yeah.
So does Elisa and Rahel.
No. And Bruno?
Bruno also bows.
Okay. That's enough. Enough
all
of
right.
interest.
Katarzyna continues. Unfortunately, we also have a painful matter to discuss tonight. And at this, you see Bruno and Clement step forward a little bit. See Janina still Bruno, in the same despair and pain. Clemens, gently guiding him, but not quite, he's there to help him walk, if the need arises, but not doing more than that. Katarzyna continues. Mr. Wilewski, despite explicit prohibition laid on him, violated the third tradition once again, disregarding the mercy granted to him before. Is there anything you would like to say, Mr. Wilewski?
Oh, I see where this is going.
She says, at which Bruno steps up a bit further, takes a few steps, with certain almost eagerness and you think like a desperate hope. And he started speaking. My friends, I only ask for my children to be given a chance. I wanted to save them. I couldn't bear to see them gone forever. Katarzyna considers him for a moment. Is there anything you wish to do, try, say, see? Let me know.
I'm mostly sitting and watching this, uncertain if there's anything. I don't think that there's anything I could do to help, or I'm just feeling very sad.
Dolores, want to say that Bruno is the most compulsive eraser ever known to me.
Is there anything Janina wants to do, though?
No, that just I just feel like this. But Janina is I think she's anxious. She wished that she was as brave as Mara, that she would stand up, but she thinks about how it ended up last time and that it was in vain.
And Katarzyna, after a moment, says, "Your children were embraced illegally, and as such, they had no right. They were already disposed of on the decision of the Primogen Council." At which Bruno shakes a little bit. His whole body starts shaking. He holds on to his cane. Clement steps up to him and helps him to stabilize. You see tears start running down Bruno's face, and he shakes and lowers his head. "There is nothing for me to say then."
I'm probably crying. As soon as he starts to cry, I think I will start crying as well.
At this point, Isidore steps out, almost towards Bruno. And he just starts talking. "This is a disgrace. What gives you the right to murder two of our own? You talk about defending us here, and you don't hesitate to kill us yourself. Leave this man be. Or is there no compassion left?" And at this moment around, Katarzyna just looks to him. "Please be quiet, Count Grabowski." And Isidore falls quiet. But you see his fists are clenched and he's shaking with anger. And Katarzyna looks to him. "I thank you for your impassionate plea. But we need matters to discuss here. We have matters to discuss here. But I appreciate your input." He's just looking with absolute anger in his eyes. Katarzyna turns towards Incertum. "Primogen, is there anything you would like to say at this moment, as Mr. Walewski is a member of your clan?" And Incertum sits in her chair, looks, "No, my prince. I trust your judgment." Katarzyna continues. "Is there anyone else among the Primogen who would like to speak up?" And you see, Edwin just bows his head and shakes it. Stanisław doesn't bow, but just indicates no as well. And Zygmunt, in a similar way, just shakes his head slightly. But Michael stands up and bows to the prince of the city. "Katya, if I may, Bruno Walewski here is a wonderful artist whose music makes our nights and our souls more beautiful. To deprive the world of his art would be a crime against my fragile heart, which, well, I'm not sure if we can survive it. And to punish the man for something he, as you very well know, can't help, due to a curse that runs through the vita of his clan, well, that would just be needless cruelty. You already corrected his mistake. There is really no need to punish the man further. He deserves forgiveness, as he cannot control himself in this particular transgression. Katarzyna looks to him. Yeah, what's running?
A mixture of feelings. There's a mixture of feelings. Like, it started with a sort of relief that someone is speaking up for Bruno, and then just the more he's talking, the more I'm like, you could have just could have stopped a bit earlier than that, but okay. There's a bit of indignation at the. There's an awareness that yes, he's probably correct, but also the way he's saying it is not landing right with me.
Why?
I think it's the way that he's talking about our clan.
All right. That's very fair.
But I am glad that someone is speaking for him.
Katarzyna looks to him. Thank you, Primogen. I appreciate your opinion. And Mihail just bows again and sits back down. The prince looks to everyone. Is there anyone else who would like to add something? And you see,
I glance towards Felicia.
she looks straight at you. Glance to Felicia, just shakes her head, and reaches towards your hand now.
I'm very focused on the prince right now, and
you see the prince is looking directly at Rahela in this moment, and if any of you looks towards Rahela,
yeah, I'm definitely looking.
Yeah. You see that she is crying. There are tears running on her face, and she is shaking. And Eliza is holding her arms very tightly. And Rahela just glances back for a moment, and Eliza just holds her in place, at which Rahela just lowers and shakes her head.
I would like to send with telepathy to her. I'm with you.
Roll your intelligence and subterfuge. With difficulty 4.
I have 4 successes.
You see, she looks a little bit startled. And she just starts crying, and Eliza holds her closer.
I try and send her this feeling of wanting to comfort her.
She does glance towards you, but you see that as you do that, it just makes her break down into tears more, and she's kind of going to pieces, and Eliza is just holding her.
Okay. My heart slightly breaks for her.
I just wish that Mara was here.
Katarzyna sits for a moment, looking to everyone. And starts speaking eventually. I appreciate the compassionate attitude of Mr. Orwolf. and the passion of Count Grabowski. However, there are laws that we all must adhere to. A mercy can be granted, but those who reject mercy are granted to them and continue to disregard the principles that guide our existence cannot expect endless compassion. And you, Mr. Vilevsky, and she looks to Bruno and he sort of straightens and meets her gaze at this moment. And she continues, you disregarded the understanding and compassion granted to you before, violating the trust of the Primogen Council and my trust. For your transgression against the traditions, I have no choice but to sentence you to death.
I probably start crying again.
You're crying. You feel that Nastya is embracing you as you are crying.
I just look at her and just like shake my hand.
She's just holding you.
And then I look at Felicia because I really expected her to say something because Bruno was her friend.
You see that Felicia is sitting and she is shaking slightly. But
like I'm disappointed at her.
I'm watching with horror and feeling of helplessness and wishing that I'd said something but not knowing what I should have said and not knowing if anything I could have said would fix it.
Bruno only bows his head and nods a few times, but doesn't. He almost looks like he wants to say something, but he doesn't. Katarzyna turns to the sheriff. Mr. Topolsky, you will carry out my will. And Lucian just bows. Of course, my prince. Katarzyna once again glances over the whole room, her gaze appearing to meet the gaze of everyone.
I'm looking at her angry.
Looking angry and in tears. She meets your eyes. And then her gaze moves from you. And she says, once again, I thank you for gathering here and for your resilience. I sincerely hope that the future will let us meet in less painful circumstances. And with that, she stands up. And you see Zygmunt and Stanisław stand up with her. Everyone stands up in the room as she is about to leave.
I'm not standing up.
I stand.
Felicia tries to pull you up.
No, I will not move. I'm just sitting there, not moving.
You see Zygmunt glance towards you.
And I look at him angry as well.
And perception and empathy. Let's see.
I have 9, 10, 10.
9, 10, okay. 10. Do you have any specialties in any of that?
I don't think so, no.
No. So that's 4 successes.
3 successes.
9, 10, 10. Yes, 3 successes. Sorry.
No worries.
Fine.
But yeah, that's enough. You do see. He's both exasperated and endeared. And he leaves with the prince. The Ventru Primogen leaves as well. While the others remain. You see Lucian move closer to Clemens and Bruno. You see Mihai almost immediately stands up and instantly Polski, if I may. It will take just a moment. And Lucian just nods his head. And Mikhail comes up to Bruno. I am very sorry, Maestro. But I assure you that I know all your compositions by heart, and those you didn't manage to write down I will, so that they won't be lost. And you see Bruno, his head, and raises his head a little bit. Thank you, Primogen. I appreciate your appreciation for my art.
I think it's at this point I've started crying as well.
I just look at Felicia and I say, why didn't you said something? He's your friend.
Nothing could be done, and I couldn't carry the burden of, nothing could be done.
And I just shake my head.
And you see she stands up and starts moving towards Bruno as well. Mikhail continues. I did not exaggerate. Your music brought the beauty that is so rare in this world. Your child, Rahela, will be cared for. I will see to that, personally. And Bruno bows slightly. Thank you for your kindness, Primogen. You see at this point Felicia moves closer towards Bruno, and Rahela starts walking towards him as well.
I wanted to go towards Raquel, but when I see her approaching Bruno, I don't want to impose on her, so I sit back.
I was the same.
And when I see Bea crying, I probably open my hand if she wants to hold my hand. Leave it there.
Let's make that self-control check, see if that...
Difficulty 6.
Yeah, absolutely, no bother. I will...
I thought absolutely not.
Absolutely not. No. After a moment when I notice it, I will reach out and take her hand and squeeze it briefly, but then let go again because I'm quite emotional at the moment.
And Nastya is still holding you, Janina.
I will lean towards her and just sniff and sob next to her.
You see, at this moment, Felicia comes up to Bruno, and they touch hands and look at each other. And she leans towards him and speaks something very softly. And he raises a hand to her head and just strokes it and leans towards her and says something very quietly into her ear, at which she seems kind of surprised. But then she grabs his arms, and there are tears running down her face, and she is shaking. And he gives her a smile, not quite looking at her, but smile directed and outwardly towards her, and she just starts crying more. You see him then take a few steps towards Rahela, who is being held by Elisa and in tears and shaking. And Bruno smiles at her and, slightly shaking, kneels down next to her, embracing her, and he leans towards her and says something into her ear as well, very quietly. And she says, I don't care about that right now. And he says, you do. You know that you do. And you will. And she's crying. Anything you wish to do? Anything on your minds?
I'm just heartbroken. I just can't wrap my head that they just kill him for that. Especially now when we are under attack Sabbat, and instead of having more kindred, they just kill one. And especially because it's Bruno, and I know that he's in pain and that he touched hearts of many. Felicia, Raquel. It's just so sad, and I wish I was as brave as Mara, that I could stand up and say something, even if it was pointless, but I couldn't. If it was like Roman or someone I had a closer connection with, I would do or would know what to say, but Bruno, I wasn't as close with him. I just really hope that someone else, especially I'm very disappointed in Felicia.
You were.
I'm glancing at Bruno and then trying to also give him and Rahela and Felicia a bit of space, and so I'll glance away again and look over at Isidore.
Isidore, you see, is storming off, and Daniel is following with him. And Nina is kind of walking behind Isidore, almost want him to touch him, but looks a bit hesitant at the moment, but is following.
I'd like to try sending him just the words, "Thank you for speaking for him."
Just sending messages left and right.
Intelligence and subterfuge.
Yeah, that's
with difficulty
old style texting.
Yeah, intelligence
with mixed results.
With mixed results.
Pretty good results for her so far.
Yeah, I mean, generally.
Yeah.
Generally speaking.
I can't remember. What was the difficulty?
6.
Then that's 3 successes. Yeah.
He at first doesn't seem to react, and then as he's at the door, sort of stops, turns around.
I make eye contact with him and just nod slightly, still with tears running down my face.
And he looks to you, and there is full perception and empathy. Like the subtle of man. He rolled all right.
Does insightful apply?
Not for this, I think. This is like a very immediate sort of thing.
Then 3 successes.
So you just very briefly see there's this surprise, there's anger and frustration, but not with you. Mm-hmm. And this kind of thoughts, like should he stay, and pain, and you see him sort of struggling with himself and being very torn by very intense emotions, and he turns and leaves. And Daniel and Nina follow behind him. You see few other people have also left. Cornelia has left. Stefania is still in her chair. Anna Maria is by her. They are talking in very quiet voices.
I stay seated. I don't want to leave Mother and Rahela to deal with this alone. Although I don't want to intrude.
And they talk for a little bit. Bruno is talking to Rahela. Felicia is staying nearby. And she is now also crying, although she takes out a handkerchief and tries to wipe her tears almost like by habit. It's not making much of an effect.
At this point, I'll stand up and go to her and stand next to her with my hand sort of hovering over her shoulder.
And she gives you a very sad smile through the bloody tears that stain her face. And after moment, Sheriff and Clemens, who stepped away a few steps, leaving the space to the people who wish to talk to Bruno. The Sheriff steps forward. Mr. Vilevsky, I'm afraid we should get going. And Bruno turns to him. Just says very calmly, of course. And then turns to Clemens, please help me. You know, struggle with moving around. And Clemens offers his arm, and he leans on him and guides him. And they start walking out of the Elysium, with Mihail accompanying them, and Felicia and Rahela following, at which point Incertum stands up and also follows out of the room. Felicia glances to you, Bea, a sort of question in her eyes.
If it looks like she wants me to join, then I will do so. I don't want to leave her for this.
Perception and empathy.
Okay.
She's not really hiding. Well, actually, she's not really hiding much, so you don't have to roll.
Okay.
She is sort of. She basically like a little gesture, and you see the question on her face. It seems that she is open for you to go or stay, depending on what you feel more comfortable with.
I will follow her.
So, Janina, you see Bea following Bruno and others who accompany him. Nastya is holding you and asks, do you want to come with her?
I don't know if we should. But let's try. If they say that they don't want us, then we'll go back. And I grab her hand and lead us to follow them.
And you grab and you start following Bea. You see them walking behind you.
I don't really react to it. I'm just going to see whether I can touch Felicia.
Yeah, it's difficulty 5.
Yeah, no problem. I will offer her my arm.
She takes it and leans on you slightly, giving you a faint smile, but there is still pain on her face, of course, and some stiffness in her movement. And you follow the group, and you walk up the stairs, but you don't quite go to the attic. You go through a different corridor, and different exit, and you step out onto a quite sizable balcony or rooftop terrace, from which the view stretches over the dark city, the ruins of the city, with not many lights in there, only few flickering in a few windows before you. Bruno walks almost up to the barrier and leans on it. And he squeezes it with his hands and it's just quiet for a moment. No perception and empathy, both of you.
I have 1 success.
I'm struggling to read through my tears, but 2 successes.
So you both see, actually, he's not really managing to keep much of his face right now. That there is certain deep pain there, and there is something almost like a calmness and like he's very calm, but there is deep pain running through him, and there is a note of relief there, but also something that he just can't get over, can't forget, just constantly feeding his pain. And after a moment of just facing the ruins and maybe listening, maybe contemplating something, he turns partially towards Mihail, Clemens, Rahela, the rest of you. I suppose nothing is eternal. I have always known this. All of this, and slightly gestures to the city, will rise and crumble to dust, and nothing will be left. And he turns.
Before he turns, I want to just say to him, you were a good man, Bruno.
He smiles at that. I tried.
I know.
And he turns not away from you, but somehow directs himself exactly towards Incertum. And says, I'm glad I won't have to remember anymore. See it crumble while it still stands. And Incertum just nods their head. And Bruno seems focused on them for a longer while. And maybe something goes on between them that you can't hear. But nothing visibly happens. And you see, in the distance, the sky begins to turn to dark blue at first, as the first rays of sun start coming. Bruno reaches his hand towards Rahela and squeezes her hand. Rahela is crying, shaking at this very moment. But Bruno puts a hand on her neck and on an almost calming gesture, stroking her hair. But she just bursts further into tears. And you see Mihail glance towards her as well, but not doing anything at this moment. And Bruno then turns to Clemens and says, please find a place for my soul in your prayers. Maybe young woman here is right and I was the good man. And maybe we're not all destined for damnation. And Clemens replies, of course, you will be in my prayers for as long as I walk this earth. At which you see Clemens pulls out a wooden stake out of his pockets and turns towards Bruno. I'm afraid it is time, he says. Bruno gives him a slight smile. I know. And at this, you see Clemens stay a hand on Bruno and hold him, and with the other, push a stake and drive it through Bruno's heart. And then lay him very gently on the balcony and you hear him say a prayer over Bruno, asking God to accept him into heaven, forgive his sins, and accept him back from the trials that we're going through. To which Clemens straightens arm. Lucian is just standing near him, nods his head, looks into the distance a little bit. Felicia is fixated on Bruno's face. And you see her also make a sign of cross. Mihail does that as well, slightly differently.
I will also do the same.
I don't, because Janina's not religious.
Nastya does the same way as Mihail. Slightly different.
I just nod my head.
And you see Mihail take Rahel up by her arms. Say, it is time to go, child. And she's nodding her head and crying, but she starts walking. And Felicia looks to you, Bea. Should get going as well. It is very late.
Of course. And I briefly look to Bruno's face.
You see his face that is stained with tears. But you see the calmness on it. It's frozen in a calm expression.
And with my arms still in others, I will turn away.
Nastya is trying to get you to come as well, Janina.
Yeah, I will come, but I just let her drag me, and I look at Bruno and I whisper before I just go that I hope that there is no more pain waiting for you.
With that you leave, leaving on the lemons
I'm crying
behind you. But you hear them following closely as you feel the tiredness start creeping into your bodies. Felicia is leading you back towards the room that you share.
I guess on our way, when we will be passing the my room, then I will just tell Bea that me and Nastya will be in the room. Because I understand that she wants to be with Felicia.
And you walk into the room with Nastya, who just holds you and lies down with you holding you.
Yeah, probably as soon as we will close the door behind, I just drop on my knees and I just start sobbing that it's not fair.
And she drops next to you, hugging you, closing you in her embrace. No, it's not. It really isn't.
I hate it here, and I hate Sabbat. I just hate this world. He was a good man. I know he was.
I didn't know him very well, but he seemed like a good one.
Yeah. And I just hold her and cry into her shoulders.
She's holding you. Until you both start getting very tired.
I guess I just sleep on the floor next to not next to the door.
No, of course. Of course. You do.
Someone.
That's how I imagine it. You
Yeah.
both just collapse onto the floor.
Yeah.
Lying down there. And fall asleep. And Bea, you head to Felicia's room with her.
Yes.
She opens the door, lets you in, and she heads to the bathroom, where she mechanically starts washing blood and makeup off her face.
I just go and sit on the bed, and wait for her to come back. I decide I'll deal with it tomorrow.
And she steps out of the bathroom and looks to you and says, "They told me not to say anything. They told me not to speak up. The primogen. They said it's better that way. And maybe because he suffered so much. But I'm not sure."
I offer her my hands.
She takes your hands. Squeezes them just slightly.
I squeeze them back.
And you see she's crying again.
Nothing that I say will help, but I'm here with you.
She just nods. Her head gives you a little bit of a smile as more bloody tears are running down her face.
I then lean forward and just rest my forehead against hers.
She embraces you.
I hold her gently.
And eventually, she does move to lie down on the bed, not quite letting go of you, holding you closely. It's running through your head, Belle, as you are falling asleep. Your sire crying next to you.
Grief for the loss of Bruno. Grief for Mother having to deal with that. Frustration at the primogen. Frustration at the Camarilla. Also this discomfort from touch, but I push it aside because Mother's more important.
With that, you fall asleep as the sun rises, and you both know as you fall asleep that somewhere on the balcony it is burning his body. Thank you very much for playing.
You know how
And
to break our hearts right before the summer.
Yes, of course, I had to. And thank you to everyone who's been watching.
Yes.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. The last one before summer break. So a finale of sorts for a time being.
Yeah.
We will be
a finale for Bruno.
Oh my god. Well, anyway, all that aside, we will be taking a summer break now for the coming months. We are planning to be back, I believe, on the 6th of September, but we will be publishing that date closer to the time on social media, here in the timetable on Twitch as well. So please, everyone, have a nice summer, and we hope
Don't burn.
Do not burn. And we hope, I don't know, I'm just rolling with it.
Sorry, I have a lot of black humor.
That's fine. But yes, everyone, thank you so much for following the story. One other thing I forgot to say, and remembered thanks to Dolores' black humor, is that we will have a summary of our story so far coming out soon, in the next few weeks, probably. We will publish this episode on YouTube and then release a summary of our story so far. So if you've missed some episodes, if you found us later and are curious what happened before, there will be a very easy way to catch up available very soon.
Thank you for all your hard work on that.
Once again, thank you so much for supporting us and following our story. And please have a lovely summer. And we will see you hopefully in September to continue the journey of Janina and Bea. Thank you so much, everyone, and good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye-bye, and thank you.